Hey, everybody. You're listening to the Medium Curious. Wait, what am I doing? Let me try it again. Hey, everybody. I'm Jane. And you're listening to the Medium Curious podcast, the show that's wondering if this is, in fact, a holographic universe, if we're all hollow or graphic. Sunday solo time. We have pushed it back to 2 times a month. You're getting a Sunday solo from these kids, these gals, Jane and Sarah. This one is Jane, as I previously mentioned, and this solo is a little bit of a philosophical conundrum pile of fun. And let me just start with a really cool story, and then I'll expand back into some of my hypotheses and thoughts and theories here about, time and space and time travel and I don't know, the holographic universe, the good, fun stuff. I have been really thinking a lot about time travel. Mostly I've been thinking about time travel within the context of traveling to different parts of my own life. And I wanted to talk to y'all a little bit about that. But then I kind of started playing around with like the bigger stuff, right? That the physicists are all having conversations with each other and themselves about. And I kind of got excited about this whole holographic principle in physics. But like I said, I want to start with a little story. Okay, ready? So as y'all know, I'm super interested in like the higher self business, right? And in fact, I am now running a little business in where I am talking about it all the time. And I have these 2 cohorts that I have the incredible pleasure of teaching. One of them is the group that's closing in the next couple of weeks. Our first class is this week, but I won't close the doors till the end of March. But in any case, I only have about 3 more spots, maybe 2. It might be 2 more spots. I love this idea of a higher self that we can access because there's this way in which our higher self is in the bigger picture. Like if you know anything or have any ascription to the holographic universe. And the concept is this: information about a whole system might be encoded in every part of it. Doesn't that take you to like one of those cool stock photography or stock film clips where you see like a fly with like all of those like same images in the eyeball? Do you know what I'm talking about? Am I crazy? Or you've seen it like in a dewdrop where there's like 1,000 refractions of the same thing inside one dewdrop. I hope y'all know what I'm talking about. I can just see it really clearly right now. So the concept is like everything is essentially in a hologram. If you break a holographic plate into pieces, each fragment contains the entire image with less resolution. So it's sort of like if the universe is a reality, that each of us are maybe one little fractal of the bigger picture. Like if consciousness is this whole system and we're just like a little, I don't know, little piece of it, a little buddy, a little like single one in the everything that is refracting the everything through our little lens. For what it's worth, I realize how wacky that sounds. So now you were like, Jane, just a second ago, you said you were going to tell us a story. Okay, here it goes. I have had multiple wild synchronicities this week, like wild, like wacky. And I just have had this like constant feeling of like, whoa, I really think time travel is a thing. I think time is super compressed or layered, or it's all happening at the same time, which is how it got me onto the holographic universe, or this idea of block universe where every moment could exist within the structure of reality. Like this is all happening at the same time. And okay, Jane, finally tell the stories. Fine, I will. Okay. So for example, one day I was chatting with someone who I love and respect very much. And I invited her to go on this little journey with me where she would go and meet her future self. But here's what's crazy is like the very previous day, she had the thought, you know what? I would like to go and meet my future self. So she sits down with me and I say, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to go on a journey and meet your future self. And she was like, wait, that's crazy. Right? So that's crazy. I mean, I was like, well, maybe I was like this is all the same moment. So it's not like that happened yesterday and this happens today. It was just like a different expression of the same thing. Does that make sense? And then another crazy thing. So get this. So this morning, I don't know why, but I've been like super duper weepy and just really touched by everything. And actually, I do know why. So last night, I was speaking to someone who was, I don't know how to explain this, y'all. She's like a very high being. That's what I want to say to you. And I was like simultaneously just enchanted and loving our conversation, but also doing the thing that I do where I kind of channel my guides and talk to higher selves, plural. And like I would say things to her that she had literally, same thing, the day before wished for. And I won't go into specifics just to protect her privacy, but like, what is that? So anyway, this morning I'm meditating in my little spot with my little blanket. I'm meditating and I just got overcome by like being so touched by these like synchronistic events where I get to play a part in someone else feeling relief, right? Like someone said, my God, that makes me feel so much relief, to the point where she was crying that this experience played out the way it did. And I was like, wow, like, what if that's kind of the whole damn thing of it, right? Like if I am in touch with my higher self and my guides and my team is orchestrating in some holographic universe, this simultaneous magic that means that another human being on this earth feels a little better. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'm doing okay. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I was feeling a little weepy. And then I heard, okay, I'm going to try to hold it together. I heard my higher self, or my kind of, what I perceive as my higher self voice say, Jane, we are so proud of you. Which of course, for a gal who's already feeling a little weepy, I was like, boo-hoo. So I'm like crying on my meditation pillow, wondering how I'm going to hold it together enough to like meditate and whatnot. So I'm just feeling so weepy. Okay. Here's the crazy part. Here it comes. So then I go about my day, and a couple hours later, I had a Zoom meeting online that I needed to attend to and play a role with managing. And then I finally look at my inbox, and in my inbox is a note, and it's actually from someone who I haven't spoken to in many, many years. It's my English teacher from high school, who I adore, who I made a point of taking a second class from her because I think she's brilliant. And I wasn't really tracking that she follows my Substack. And on my Substack, I started doing that buy me a coffee thing because, it's kind of fun. And I had put up a Substack this week about skiing. And so I thought I was really cute and funny when I put buy me an après ski hot chocolate. You know what I mean? Anyway, so she supported me in that way, gave me a little hunk of money, and said something really nice about my writing. This is my writing, my English teacher from high school. And so y'all are probably aware that it's been a minute since I was in high school, and just the connectedness of that. But I'm still coming to y'all with the best part of the story. I thank you for your patience. She said to me, the first line of her message said, I am so proud of you. Boo freaking who. So it was like, I felt like, God, at the same moment that I heard that kind of reverberating in my system while I was trying to meditate or meditating or whatever I was doing, converging with or convening with like the everything, that message was coming into my inbox this morning. So, okay, there you go. What are we doing here? Are we, in fact, part of a much bigger, more beautiful, more exquisite, more extraordinary system that is sort of like we're just living out little beats of that? Like we're like little versions of that holographic universe. Like we're like the low res version of that hologram. And to go back to the concept of time travel between ages. Oh my gosh, do y'all remember, it was like a couple episodes ago, Jen Butler had that story where she was really like suffering in her 20s and had this like amazing vision of someone who at the time she perceived to be her soulmate, but really it was her future self coming to reassure her, which she only really understood that when, as her future self, she was probably in a similar moment that I was this morning, and then suddenly realized that she needed to reassure this younger self of side of herself, and then realized that that was in fact her from it. Anyway, go back to that episode if you haven't heard it, because it's super great. And she also has a really cool Instagram version of that story that I just tried to tell. And that has just touched me so much. And I feel like I chat to my younger self quite a bit. This is one of those moments, and these moments come up a lot on this episode, on these episodes, on this podcast, where I go, "Is this crazy to tell this story? Oh, it probably is too crazy. Oh, I'll do it anyway. Here I go." And the story is this: I have been, through various forms of therapeutic support over the years, and I think there was, it was about, 10, 15 years ago, I was working with a therapist who was like a Jungian dude, and he would often ask me to kind of access my younger self. I think this isn't that abnormal. I think a lot of people do this, right? So in recent years, I have been chatting with like myself at various ages, to the point where I will say to my like little Jane, I call her, I'll be like, "What do you want to do? What do you need?" And it's super funny, and it's hilarious to me anyway, where she will go like, "I want red tea," or "I want to make art," or "let's." Like she has this kind of like petulant little way that she just like wants what she wants, and she wants it right now. And then I, as the sort of 55-year-old version of me, will like go like, "Great, let's do that." Or, "Hold on, honey, I need to," like, it's kind of like, I guess it's reparenting. I mean, I don't really know that much about psychology, but I have found it to be exceptionally helpful and sweet. And I have a whole bunch of art supplies thanks to my little self. And oh wait, okay, this makes me want to tell y'all another story. So just kind of in the synchronistic, amazing universe realm that we're hanging out in, like if we are accessing multiple points in time at once, like what I'm just talking about with my little self, I had this really amazing experience. So one of our folks from Claire Club got in touch with me, and she said, "Oh, I know what it was. We were doing Claire Club," and she said, "Does anybody know this person?" Like she had brought through a spirit. And I was like, "I know exactly who that is." And it was cool because I've never had that person come through before for me. And all the times that I've sat for readings and all the different mediumship readings I've had over the years, which is many, a lot, through practice and whatnot. And so I was super excited to kind of hear from her. She's a friend of mine from high school who I adore. I was very, very close to her at one time, but we kind of lost each other starting in college. So again, we're like jumping back in time in high school right now for me. And so she came through. She had crossed over probably about maybe 10 years ago. And it was super sad when she crossed, because she was one of those extraordinary people, one of those people that you're like, "Oh my God, they have so much," I don't know. She's just an extraordinary person. And the way she died it was just a bummer, man. It was one of those deaths that didn't really have to happen, but it did. And it was painful. So then my friend and colleague in Claire Club reached out to me afterwards and said, okay, she sent a picture of what she had seen in her mind. And she said, "Does this look like your friend?" And it was crazy because it looked exactly like her, to the point where I sent back a picture to my friend and I said, "Yeah, this is her." And how crazy, because she'd pulled out like a picture from Google Images or whatnot. So anyway, what this friend of mine said was, "You need to dance." And that makes sense because she and I were on the dance team. And it also makes sense because I have been eyeballing this kind of like dance fitness thing, which is coincidentally called Fly Fitness. And they just opened one here in Utah, and it's like an hour away. So I've been like, I don't really know if I'm going to get into a fitness thing that's going to be a 2-hour round trip. So I've just been kind of thinking about it, wanting to do it, not doing it. So then my friend comes through and says, you need to dance and you need to go down and shake your butt at that thing. And I was like, okay, fine. And so then this week I'm talking to another person who I admire and appreciate, one of my mentors. And she was like, the guides are saying you need to dance. And I was like, okay, copy that. I've got the message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the time travel of being able to connect with all these various selves, the self that is my high school self, the self that is my petulant 6-year-old, the self that is my, wise 70-year-old, and being able to access that and that kind of quality of all of these babes, all of these Janes exist at once is kind of where I'm getting with the physics. Like, isn't it possible that not only do all of my do all of my ages exist right now, but then what about all these lifetimes that I'm always kind of dipping in and out of, or that Sarah so beautifully talked about in her solo, this idea of the Akashic records, and there's all these different lifetimes that we've lived in the past or we're going to live in the future. But like in physics, there's an idea of the simultaneous lives hypothesis. And that again is that block universe. Every moment could exist within the structure of reality right here, right now. It's kind of like this like a layered cake or a book that you can just like open and access. So anyway, I know this is all kind of mind blown, all presented by a non-physicist. So I've just been really sitting with it because my future self has been exceptionally helpful to me, because she is just hanging out going like, dude, you are fine. Stop worrying. And like, how we all have these dreams and like these just like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if, or I really wish one day I will, but we don't always like take steps towards those. And I've been talking to so many people about this, higher calling program. And this is like the big topic is like, what's that thing that you wish you like? Okay, let me just break it all the way down. Like, what's the thing that should you get a terrible diagnosis, or should you get to your deathbed at 89 or 99 and go like, you know what I never did? You know what I really wish I did? Like, that's what I want to avoid at all costs for me and all of us. Like, in my estimation, despite this sort of wacky, difficult time that, for example, our country and the world really are going through, I am of the mind that this is still all that we can manipulate reality. We can jump between timelines. We can trust in our higher self, an understanding of a future self that has accomplished that thing, that did that thing that you really want to do. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Tell the truth. I'm just so hopeful. And this feeling of like stepping into a future self and looking back and being super proud. For example, I was sitting in a recovery meeting today and I time traveled back to my 38-year-old self. And I was like, F yeah, sister. I was like high-fiving and hugging my 38-year-old self. I was like, I am so proud of you for setting down alcohol. Like the life that I'm living now with all of its wild wonderment is all because another version of me made a profound and smart and difficult choice. So then like, I imagine like, okay, what am I going to be high-fiving my 55-year-old self when I'm 65 or 80? I'm going to be like, Jane, that was brave. You did it. Good for you. You know what I mean? And I have some ideas of which I don't necessarily want to share here. Chicken, that involve like, I don't know, TED Talks and books and all this cool stuff that hasn't happened yet. And then I also am just so grateful to the brave, whatever the heck, 50-something-year-old that knew that previous career needed to be left. And with so much love for the world that I was living in and the beautiful experiences I had in film and TV production, I was like, I need to go. And my higher self and my guides were so loud through that whole process. And again, I'm time traveling, I'm high-fiving her. Like, F yeah, sis. That was hard. And I've talked about that on other solos. So I guess that's my question to y'all. What is the thing that you really want to do? And what is the thing that you're going to look back on from your, like when you cross over to the other side and you're so happy to reunite with all those amazing loved ones and those dogs and cats and bunnies and whatever, all those creatures that you've loved on this earth. And you get over there and you're like, yeah, this is such a good life. And the one thing I wanted to do was blank, or I wish I had blanked. And of course, like from what I hear from folks who I talk to on the other side, it isn't so much like, let's hang out with our regrets, but maybe we should do it more from like, you're about to die. Because on the other side, okay, that's not totally true. Sometimes people do come through with regrets. I mean, they sure do. Because a lot of times they come through with apologies to the people sitting in front of me. But anyway, I'm just like enchanted and fascinated by this whole thing. Like, what the heck are we doing here? And how deep can we go into the physics and the simultaneous universes and the holographic universes and just say like, okay, if in fact we are living in a holographic universe where we are just a projection, like this personality is a projection of a much larger consciousness field, and or we from where we sit and where we can connect to the everything and that consciousness, kind of like on the telepathy tapes when we hear about the non-speakers who talk about this huge holographic field or the huge field of consciousness that is something they can access because they're not busy talking and thinking and being, well, of course they're thinking, but they're not talking. They're not kind of hanging out fully in this reality. So they have way bigger perspectives and way more access. So let's see. I hope this has been helpful. Just to try to wrap it up, let me just say this. Having been sort of visited by various versions of myself today and the high fives that I have given to my previous selves and the encouragement that I've gotten from my future self, I just want that for you. And if this physics stuff feels relevant and helpful, yay. And if you just kind of want to smack me because I'm not a scientist and I keep trying to talk about it, fair. I apologize. But I just want that for you, friends. I want you to just be like, yeah, this life, as hard as it is and scary as it is at times, and that fear that comes up because we're suddenly in a random war and we don't know what it means and people are dying and just like all the horrors of this place. I just want to invite also all the magic. Like, how does that happen? That I get encouragement for my 16-year-old self from my teacher. And it's because I'm a little crazy and brave enough to put up essays up on Substack. And that just, what a sweet reward, don't you think? So anyway, again, I'm loving y'all. I'm hoping this is really helpful. At the very minimum, I hope this is helpful. And I want to thank you for listening to my musings on time travel. And couple announcements before I hop off the mic. Like I said before, I am still enrolling. I do have about 2 or 3 more spots, depending on what happens this weekend. And so if you are interested in the higher calling program that I was just talking about, definitely get in touch. The other exciting thing is that Sarah and I have recorded our intuition and mediumship course. It's like 8 modules and it's got a whole bunch of other cool stuff, including meditations and goodies like that. And we are going to be selling that up on our Medium Curious website. And the fun thing is, if you buy the course, you get 1 free Claire Club with it. So then you can come and practice all the cool stuff you've learned in the 8 modules. Also, Claire Club starts again pretty soon. So if you're interested and you want to jump in with Claire Club with us, you can do the course and jump in, or you can just jump in. People have had varying degrees of massive success just jumping right in with us to practice psychic and mediumship skills. And I think that's it. I think those are the announcements. Thank you. We love you. Of course, I'll say it again. And by the way, the ratings have gone up. You are doing it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone who's gone up and given us some ratings love and even put in a comment. That's so meaningful. And your listenership means the world. And we adore you and we love you. And we'll see y'all real soon. Thanks, friends.
Very Soul is our sponsor for Medium Curious. Jane and I are both Very Soul mediums.
Oh, yes, we are. Verysoul.com, y'all. Inspired by spirit, guided by love, and brought to life by mediums.